lesbians experience male privilege.
In 2019, Dr. Rhea Ashley Hoskin, a sociologist focusing on femme theory, published a paper which used a qualitative method paired with thematic analysis to explore the intersection of femme phobia and discrimination. Her results showed how, as stated within the results of the study, femininity operates as a target for discrimination. While before the 21st century, it was widely discussed that feminine-presenting gay men face higher rates of discrimination, and many studies had explored how femininity and women in general are devalued, it wasn't until the 2000s that the intersectionality of this discrimination began to become more widely recognized and researched. This shift led to the increased study of femme phobia, which is the devaluation and regulation of femininity across all genders and sexes. Femphobia has been proven to cause harm to feminine people regardless of gender or sex. So does that mean that masculine privilege values those who are masculine regardless of gender or sex?
Masc lesbians experience male privilege.
While there are instances in which masculine-presenting women appear to hold advantages over their more feminine counterparts, there are also numerous contexts that suggest the opposite.
And kicking this can, and saying just saying things. I can't make out clearly what they were saying, but it was sort of directed at us. Now that the verbal abuse is getting louder, and so I got to the corner, and all I did, I said, I gotta stop this. I turned around and I went to say, hey, come on, and the guy hit me. I mean, I was hit. That first blow broke my nose. I had like crushed it in here. But you couldn't even walk on the street, and you just couldn't walk on the street, and then you have to defend yourself because of the position you were in. To the cops, to everybody. They say, well, what were you doing? I mean, what the fuck? Who cares what I was doing? I was walking on the street, and regardless of what I was doing, nobody has the right to hit me.
And I went to sit down, and a group of, I guess, teenage, anywhere could be from 18 to 20 young men got on, and they started screaming, don't sit next to her, she's a bull dyke, she's a bull dyke. And this was sort of a residential Queens community, and I just felt like my image is I wanted to put my head through the glass, because I felt all of a sudden, what kind of freak was I that nobody could even sit next to me.
In some contexts, masculine-presenting women may experience certain advantages over feminine-presenting women as a result of their gender expression. However, in most cases, masculinity appears to diminish rather than enhance the social opportunities and safety available to these women. So why does this occur? And why is gender-based hostility toward masculine women so prevalent despite their perceived proximity to masculinity? To answer this question, we have to understand what the patriarchy views as valid masculinity and how this applies to masculine women.
And they figured I was a young guy, and I didn't speak up because I didn't want them to hear my voice. One pinned me up against the wall, and I said something like, back off. And they heard my voice, and they were like, you're a fucking dyke. And they started hitting me, trying to take my shirt off. I was really scared, but then a train came, and people got off, and I ran away onto the train.
Ugh, I bet Jalen Hurts has a hot girlfriend. I mean, I don't understand how people get a wing flavor other than
This
buffalo.
is seen by the thousands of men commenting as well. But rather, it is a pathetic attempt at masculinity, and Masc simply trying to be men. Because to many, masculinity is only reserved for men. When women are masculine, it is not seen as something valid of male privilege, or something even valid at all. Rather, it is seen as a mockery, or a poor attempt to be a man. Because femininity is not culturally valued, any expression of femininity is treated as something to regulate, criticize, and demean. Femininity is framed as fragile, excessive, or inherently lesser, so those who embody it, regardless of gender, often become targets of scrutiny. On the other hand, masculinity is positioned as superior and desirable, but only when performed by those whom society already considers entitled to it. When someone outside of that narrow category, a woman, a non-binary person, or a man who is marginalized in some way embodies masculinity, their expression is not celebrated. Instead, it's treated as illegitimate, laughable, or even threatening. The same traits that are praised in socially recognized men are framed as pathetic, presumptuous, or disrespectful when demonstrated by someone unworthy of masculinity within the eyes of the patriarchy. Male privilege and femphobia aren't a sliding scale where femininity automatically brings more punishment and masculinity automatically brings more privilege. They're both products of the same systems: patriarchy, racism, classism, and homophobia that rank masculinity above femininity and then police who is allowed to have it. Therefore, Masc lesbians are often a target for hate, not privilege.
Sandersville says she was attacked at her hometown McDonald's because she's gay, telling our Sarah Maki she wants hate crime charges filed against the men who did it.
I genuinely think that their plan was to kill me and that they didn't care if they ended my life that day.
The couple talking to us stitches and is still nursing a very serious concussion this morning.
Mainly, we're just concerned with the fact that MGM did not care and no one was there to help us when we asked for help.
So horrific that she can't even fathom how this could happen to anyone, let alone herself. I mean, it's so wrong, just and that anyone could have that level of hate.
This is the woman's roommate, Gretchen Mote, who says even before the attack, the man asked her roommate, who is a lesbian, why she looked like a boy but sounded like a girl.
For masculine lesbians, masculinity isn't just a style or presentation, it's something that immediately marks them in public. Most people read a masculine woman as a lesbian on sight, and that instant assumption makes masculine lesbians far more visible and therefore far more vulnerable. Because their sexuality is read before they even speak, masculine lesbians face a heightened level of risk. They're more likely to be targeted with homophobic slurs, stared at, confronted, or treated with hostility simply for walking into a room. Their masculinity is seen as a challenge to both heterosexuality and traditional womanhood, and that combination makes them a frequent target for harassment and even physical violence. The discrimination lesbian women face isn't limited to one group or one expression of identity, and a community we gain nothing from tearing each other down for simply existing. This kind of infighting doesn't move us forward, it stalls us. I started making this video in response to a following TikTok.
Masc lesbians experience male privilege. It might be the bottom of the barrel, it might be the fallout of it might just be a byproduct of a presentation, but they are experiencing it in the workplace. If a femme lesbian and a masc lesbian are speaking up in a meeting, the femme lesbian is more likely to be dismissed, while the masc lesbian is more likely to be allowed to finish a sentence. If there's a femme and a masc lesbian in a situation where they have to reject a man romantically, the femme has to use the discernment of safety. So is this a smile and placate, or is this something that I can say no to? Versus a masc who's more likely to just tell them to F off because they can, if they're ever even in that situation. Femme, masc lesbian walking down the street. Femme lesbian has their keys in her hand. They have pepper spray. They're looking left, right, and center. They have a plan, a safety plan, because they know that they are in danger. Masc lesbian, not so much. Yes, can they still be jumped? Yes, can they still have situations? They can, but the likelihood of that is much less because of what? If a man thinks this is a man, they are a lot less likely to assault them. Those are all elements of male privilege in our society.
While some of what she said has bits of truth in specific situations, yes, a few masculine lesbians have acknowledged that in certain settings, like the workplace, they may receive a slight advantage because of how they're received. This is not the same, though, as male privilege, and while everyone is entitled to their opinion, we cannot use these isolated experiences to dismiss the very real harm that still happens. Masculine lesbians do not experience male privilege as a whole. What they do experience is the backlash, the risk, and the vulnerability that comes with being visibly queer. As a community, we should be working together to protect each other, not abuse or pit us against one another, not reinforcing narratives that erase abuse or put us against each other. Thank you so much for watching this video. This has been one of my first videos, so I really apologize if maybe the audio wasn't the best or some of the editing is a little bit off. And some of my points may not be as structured as I would like, so maybe in the future I will rewrite this video. I think the script changed a lot as I was writing it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it though overall. I really enjoyed making this video. It's very passionate to me. I'm very passionate about this video. I identify as a Masc lesbian myself, by the way, so that's a lot where my passion came from for the topic of this video, and I think it's really interesting. And if anyone has any differing opinions or anything else they want to say, please feel free to comment. I will not be offended. I totally understand that this is a very complex issue and that people have a lot of different opinions and viewpoints on this, and if there's anything I missed, please feel free to comment. I will be trying to read any single comment that pops up. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more like this. Thank you.